This is a story about how I almost got sued in chiropractic school. I'm Dr. Anthony Davis. When I was a student in chiropractic school, I almost got sued by somebody who will go unnamed because I'm kind of afraid they'll try to sue me again. So here's what happened. This is a story about a person with a really fragile ego. This is a story about a megalomaniac who can't take any criticism. This is a story about how the schooling system is broken. And this is a story about how we all need to understand how science works, how research works, so that we can have civil conversations and disagreements. Okay, so I'm in my third trimester at chiropractic school at the time of this story. And when I was in T3, we were in a class that we were supposed to evaluate various methods and techniques that are applied within the chiropractic profession. And there are all kinds of different techniques that chiropractors use to try to get people better. And some of them work, some of them don't work. Well, how are we gonna know which ones work and which ones don't work? Well, we've got to read the research on each technique. So our group was assigned to research a particular technique, which again, I'm not gonna name this at all. And if you ask me in the comments, I'm not telling you because this guy really tried to sue the crap out of me and it was hard to get out of. And I'm kind of afraid he'll do it again. So our group does a bunch of research on a certain technique within the chiropractic profession. And I made the PowerPoints to illustrate what we found and walk us through step by step. Well, this technique claims that it can do this, and it claims that it can do this, and it claims that by doing this, that it's gonna create these certain results in the human body. And well, let's look at the research. Well, spoiler alert, all of the research very clearly illustrated that every single claim that this technique was making about their process was complete BS. Well, these PowerPoints got shared on a public Facebook group, and the owner of this technique caught word of this. Again, this person is going unnamed because they are a crazy megalomaniac. So they got my PowerPoint presentation, and I only found out about it because the dean of the school contacted me as a student who made a presentation that was supposed to be a literature review, a review of the scientific research on this. It was an objective presentation. I really didn't give it any spin. I just presented the research and said, hey, the research says this thing sucks. So the dean contacted me, pulled me into his office. By the way, now I'm having major flashbacks of being in high school because I was in the dean's office a lot as a high schooler. And the dean says, hey, Anthony, this certain person who owns this certain thing got your PowerPoint presentation and he really wants to sue the crap out of you. Now, this was a really interesting situation because the dean was like, well, look, I mean, I agree with, you made a good presentation. It was evidence-based. You presented good information. But at the end of the day, our hands are tied. We can't do anything. And this person has a lot of money to try to sue you. And you are a student and you don't have any money to try to defend yourself in court. So if I were you, even though it's very stupid and this guy is being an asshole, even though those are the cases, I would just, if I were you, make an apology and try to walk it back and just try to smooth the whole thing over. Well, I wanted a second opinion, naturally. So I went to a particular legal advisor and this legal counsel happened to work for the school. And he said, wait. So what is the school doing about this? So this guy's trying to sue you for a presentation that you made as a school assignment, and he's trying to sue you for that because it talks badly about his technique? That's crazy. So what's the school trying to do? And I was like, well, the school's doing absolutely nothing about it. And I shit you not, this lawyer says, well, the school should tell him to go fuck himself. And I was like, yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So here's the deal though. The dean, when I talked to him again, was like, look, we can't do anything about this because the person who, owned this technique also donates a lot of money to the school and teaches there sometimes. So because they donate so much money to the school, they've got their sticky little fingers on everything, and the school can't do anything about that. So if the school tries to push back and be like, dude, calm down. A student made a presentation that was evidence-based, cited their sources, and yeah, they happen to disagree with what you are doing. That's not slander, that's not libel, that's just a review of the literature, and they came to a different conclusion than you. Well, if the school does that, now they're gonna lose all this money that this guy is donating to them. So the school's not gonna do anything about it. And this is why this is a story about how the educational system is broken, because we're being influenced by people who are donating to the schools, and sometimes the people who have lots of money to donate to the schools are assholes. They are corrupt, they're snake oil salesmen. All they care about is preserving their legacy, if you will. And they don't care about progress, they don't care about science, they don't care about legitimate research. All they want to do is make a few bucks off of a bunch of really naive students who don't know any better. All they want to do is teach them seminars and sell them a line of BS. Well, the owner of this thing and I had a dialogue in an email back and forth, and eventually I just chose to stop replying to it, and he fortunately just never followed up, which was great. But I did, subsequently, I think I ended up deleting the post online so that it wasn't publicly available. And, we just kind of tried to hide under the radar for a little while. But the point is, this would have been a SLAPP suit, S-L-A-P-P. So a SLAPP suit is a strategic lawsuit against public participation. And what that means, it's when somebody who has a ton of money and they hear somebody criticizing whatever they do, right? They're criticizing their company, they're criticizing their technique, they're criticizing them. It doesn't matter. Well, I have the right of free speech of saying, I think what you're doing is stupid. I have the right to say that, legally speaking. So I will win. I am correct. I am right. But these people with lots of money will threaten a lawsuit. It's called a SLAPP suit, because they have the money to pay for a lot of lawyers. And they are really just trying to intimidate people like me, a student who has no money. I'm not a student anymore, but I still have no money. They're trying to intimidate little guys that are criticizing them so they can maintain their position at the top, even though they know they would lose the suit in court because it's a SLAPP suit. I'm allowed to criticize you. I'm allowed to tell you that I don't think that what you're doing is effective for a medical treatment. By the way, there is a great John Oliver episode that tells you everything about SLAPP suits. They drive me crazy because I almost had one. Well, I was threatened with a SLAPP suit, really. Anyway, this whole experience really made me feel like a teenager with, like, oh man, the man is like keeping me down. And it really is. It's like, oh my God, the people with a lot of money are using their money and influence to terrorize people who cannot stand up for themselves and maintain their position at the top unethically when they are in the wrong. And besides this, what the hell kind of message does this send in an educational setting where we're supposed to be exploring research? We're supposed to be saying, well, does this thing work? Let's find out together. Let's explore the research and let's not hang on to what we hope the research says. Let's just take it at face value and say, well, the research said that this thing, it's not effective. But that doesn't mean we can't keep exploring together. Just because the research said that this thing didn't work in this way, maybe we can tweak it, maybe we can change it, maybe we can do more research and find something that does work. That's how science works, is we fail. We come up with ideas, they sound like good ideas at the time, but then we research them and we test them over and over and over and over again, and then we realize, damn, no, it didn't work. It didn't really work, but that's okay. Maybe if I change it a little bit, maybe then it'll work. And then you fail a little bit less. And then you fail a little bit less, and then you fail a little bit less, and then maybe eventually you come up with something that works. That's the scientific process. And that's what we should be learning in schools, is how to do that process and how to not be attached to the results and not be attached to our emotional connection. Well, I created this thing. And by the way, it is a huge red flag and giant conflict of interest when you look at a study on a particular method or technique, and the author of the study is the person that owns that technique. That's a huge conflict of interest. So now we can't trust that research in the first place. So unfortunately, academia is not a bastion of hope for free thinking and thoughtful criticism. So think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. I'm Dr. Anthony Davis. Usually my videos end with a positive message about movement as medicine, but this video was about free thinking as medicine. So get out there and learn something new every day. Challenge your biases. Learn new things. Don't be afraid to be wrong, because if you are wrong now and you admit it, then we can grow and be right tomorrow, or at least be a little bit closer to the truth together. Learn something new every day.